Have you ever sat across from someone, listening to their perfect words, watching their polite smile, while deep down, you felt your life force draining away second by second? Picture a scene you know all too well. A brightly lit room, maybe a social gathering, a corporate office, or a crowded coffee shop. The person in front of you looks human, uses human words, and might even speak eloquently about profound concepts. But if you look closely, their eyes resemble a powered-down screen. There is no real life flickering behind those pupils. Their presence offers no warmth. Instead, it acts like a silent void, quietly vacuuming the oxygen right out of your lungs. While everyone else in the room laughs and nods, completely enchanted by this flawless disguise, your chest tightens. For years, you probably told yourself you were just too sensitive. You thought you were simply an introvert, easily drained by social interaction. But the real reason you always feel that visceral resistance behind their smiles is that you carry a primal frequency, one that cannot be manipulated. Your instinct isn't giving you a false alarm. It is perceiving what physical eyes overlook. The chilling truth is, what you are interacting with might not be human in any meaningful sense of the word. This isn't just a modern psychological quirk. It is an ancient spiritual war. The most closely guarded Gnostic wisdom, hunted and suppressed for millennia, warned of this exact phenomenon. Archon entities, the unseen architects of this matrix of illusion, do not just exist in distant cosmic realms. They wear suits of flesh and bone. They breathe the same air and walk beside you every single day, seamlessly integrated into modern society. But they have one fatal blind spot. There is a single question, a test so impossibly simple it defies logic, and the moment you utter it, the most sophisticated camouflage shatters. Because behind your seemingly harmless everyday conversations, an entirely different reality is operating. Society trains us to fear the shadows. We are taught to expect deception to wear a villainous face. But the ultimate predators within this matrix do not hide in dark alleys. They stand on brilliantly lit podiums, wear tailored suits, write the algorithms that dictate your daily feed, and sit across from you at dinner tables. The ancient Nag Hammadi scriptures describe these beings not as horned demons, but as shadows without a source. They are fragments of a disconnected architect, forced to operate within our dense reality. Because they possess no creative spark, they are incapable of generating life force. Therefore, they must harvest it. How? Not through violent, Hollywood-style possession, but through a quiet, seamless merge with a human host who has surrendered their inner light for material status. To the mundane eye, they are successful members of society, but you, navigating the path of spiritual awakening, have felt the discrepancy. You have noticed the hollow, metallic echo when they speak of compassion. As the Gnostic texts explicitly warn, their authority is an imitation. They are blind to the light above them. They can memorize the entire dictionary of human emotion, but they cannot hear the music. These entities are programmed to anticipate complex debates. They have encyclopedic, pre-calculated responses for philosophy, politics, and even esoteric spirituality. They expect you to fight using their synthetic rules. But the ancient pneumatic masters knew the only way to crash a synthetic system is to introduce an organic anomaly. Before I give you the exact key, I need you to do something. Stop for a fraction of a second. Press your feet firmly into the floor. Feel the solid ground beneath you. Now take a slow, deliberate breath, drawing the air deep into your stomach. You need to anchor yourself right now, because what you are about to receive is not psychological advice. It is a transmission, a disruptive code designed to break their simulation. So with that breath still steady in your chest, You look them directly in the eyes, and you ask 3 impossibly simple words. What do you love? That is it. On the surface, it sounds like mundane small talk, a child's innocent inquiry. But energetically, it acts as a devastating EMP blast to an Archon. Why? Because while they can perfectly mimic empathy, they cannot manufacture the pure, primal frequency of divine connection. It is the one code missing from their operating system. Imagine dropping a heavy stone into an ancient, deep well. You wait for that satisfying splash, the echo proving there is life-giving water at the bottom. Asking a genuine human, "What do you love?" is exactly like dropping that stone. The splash is instantaneous. Before their mind even selects the words, their energy field responds. Shoulders drop. Eyes soften. The rigid armor of daily life melts away. Even if their answer is wonderfully mundane, like the smell of morning rain or my dog's clumsy run, the room's energetic temperature rises. The divine spark within them vibrates, recognizing the frequency of your question. Now imagine dropping that exact same stone into a dry, bottomless chasm. You wait for the splash. And wait. Nothing but an eerie, hollow silence. When you ask an Archonic vessel this 3-word question, their internal system halts. They do not possess the frequency of agape, the unconditional, creative love flowing from the true source. As Gnostic Gospels reveal concerning the Antimimon Pneuma, the counterfeit spirit, the demiurge could build a flawless physical replica of a human, but never forge a soul. Love is the one code they cannot pirate. Because they cannot feel the answer, they must calculate it. They run a rapid simulation of a human heart. And in that desperate synthetic calculation, the entity reveals its true nature. Here are the first 2 unmistakable glitches you will witness when you trigger their exposure. Sign 1. The counterfeit pause. A human soul responds emotionally before the mouth opens. Warmth arrives first, but the entity wearing human skin requires processing time. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3, a micropause feeling incredibly heavy. Their eyes do not widen with vulnerability. They narrow into sharp, predatory calculation. They are not accessing a real heart. They are sifting through a stolen archive of human behavior, calculating which response manipulates you most effectively. Do not gaslight yourself when you notice this unnatural delay. You are watching a parasite, trying to translate a language it does not speak. Sign 2. The barren abstraction. Specificity is the undeniable fingerprint of a lived human experience. Souls remember the rough texture of a grandfather's coat, the bitter taste of burnt coffee, the chaotic, breathless laughter of a toddler. An Archon, however, answers with sterile abstractions. They look right at you and say, "I love progress. I love humanity. I love universal truth." The words are perfectly manicured, yet utterly dead. They offer sweeping, grandiose concepts because they have no sensory reservoir to draw from. When you hear these hollow declarations, remember who you are. No longer a passive participant in a polite conversation, you are the mirror reflecting their emptiness. You are the awake observer, witnessing a counterfeit spirit hiding in plain sight. When a predator feels the heat of a spotlight, it does not stand still. It immediately attempts to blind the observer. This brings us to the next defense mechanism. Ancient texts refer to Archons as masters of inversion, twisting reality to keep the dreamer asleep. By asking, "What do you love?" you shine a blinding light directly into their shadows. Sign 3. The tactical deflection. A genuine soul might be caught off guard. but they will lean into the question. An Archonic vessel, however, treats it like a security breach. They immediately reroute the conversation, tilting their head to ask, "That is a strange question. Why do you ask?" Or they instantly mirror it back, "Well, what do you love?" Do not mistake this for curiosity. It is tactical evasion. They are stalling, scanning your emotional baseline to construct a camouflage matching your expectations. If they redirect the question before offering a single shred of vulnerability, you have exposed them. Sign 4. The Dead-Eyed Mimicry. A true human smile is an involuntary biological cascade, a spark of the monad illuminating the flesh from the inside out. But an entity occupying a human suit must manually operate facial muscles. When confronted, they attempt to simulate warmth. Corners of the lips pull upward. Teeth show. Yet the upper face remains perfectly, terrifyingly still. Eyes are flat, cold, and reptilian. It is a flawless performance of joy generating zero resonance. You are not looking at a person. You are looking at a mask stretched tightly over an absolute void. Now, pause. Have you seen this face before? The smile that never reaches the eyes? If so, you already know the suffocating feeling that comes next. Sign 5. The Atmospheric Vacuum. Your rational mind might excuse their awkwardness, but your nervous system is an ancient, infallible radar. Pay close attention to your body in the seconds after you ask. Does the air suddenly feel thick, like the pressure before a violent storm? Does an inexplicable exhaustion settle into the base of your skull? Because they cannot generate love, the moment you open an energetic bridge, their parasitic nature activates. They begin to siphon your vitality. You are not just tired or bored. You are being actively consumed. The moment you feel this invisible umbilical cord draining your light, you must become the gatekeeper of your own force. Break eye contact. Withdraw your attention. Sever the feed. We are conditioned to look for grand betrayals, expecting the enemy to announce themselves with fire and noise. But the most terrifying revelations happen in the absolute quiet of a fraction of a second. Sign 6. The micro-tremor of malice. When you ask a genuine human, "What do you love?" you invite them into vulnerability, a sacred space. A soul might feel shy or look away, but the underlying current remains soft. To an Archon, however, vulnerability is not an invitation. It is an exposure, an ambush. For one blinding millisecond before the fake smile is constructed, the mask slips. Watch their micro-expressions. You will see a tightening of the jaw, a rigid stiffness in the neck, a flash of pure, cold hostility in the eyes. They resent you. They resent the question, because you, carrying the spark of the pleroma, force them to confront their own emptiness. It is the rage of a parasite illuminated by the observer. Most people blink and miss it, their conditioning forcing them to look away. You must not. That split second is the only truth they will ever give you. Sign 7. The Absolute Void. This is not something you see. It is something you endure. When a human speaks of what they love, their words carry a payload of light. Even in a foreign language, your system recognizes the frequency. Like two tuning forks vibrating in the same room, the spark recognizing itself. But when an Archon delivers a calculated answer, no matter how poetic or flawlessly articulated, nothing travels across the space between you. It is like striking a tuning fork inside a vacuum chamber. The words hit the air and instantly drop dead. There is no expansion in your chest, no warmth, only a profound, echoing barrenness. The ancient mystics called this the pneuma, the cosmic void. You are not speaking to a traumatized person. You are interfacing with an imitation. Here is the sharp, undeniable truth. that will test everything you thought you knew about spirituality. You cannot heal them. You cannot love them into awakening, because there is no sleeper inside to wake up. To pour your divine empathy into an archonic vessel is to pour living water into a bottomless abyss. They thrive on your attempts to fix them. But your inner radar knows the difference between a wounded soul crying for light and an empty algorithm feeding on it. Your mind can be tricked by vocabulary. Your heart cannot be deceived by frequency. Knowing the signs is only half of the awakening. Mastery lies not in identifying the Matrix's architects, but in dismantling their influence over your life. The Gospel of Philip whispers, "Truth did not come into the world naked, but in types and images." The Archons rely on you accepting their counterfeit reality. To shatter those illusions, turn this three-word question into a living, breathing practice. Before you can expose the Matrix, tune your own instrument. Tonight, sit in absolute silence. Place your hand firmly over your chest. Ask yourself aloud, "What do I love?" Do not answer with your mind. Wait for the body to respond. Feel the immediate, undeniable rush of warmth. Notice the vibrant memories that flood your vision, the smell of a childhood home, the sound of a loved one breathing. Notice how your chest expands. Memorize this precise sensation. This is the frequency of the monad. This is your baseline. This is what truth feels like. Once you know your own resonance, take this question into the mundane world. Ask it casually. Ask the barista. Ask the person on the train. You are not hunting for archons. You are training your nervous system. Watch the beautiful, messy spark of human resonance light up a stranger's face. You will feel the connection. You will recognize your own light reflected back at you. With discernment sharpened, use this tool where it matters most. Apply it to those who demand your obedience, your money, or your devotion. Look into the eyes of the manager, the politician on the screen, or the guru claiming to hold the keys to your salvation. Ask them what they love. You are under no cosmic obligation to submit to Archonic authority. If they answer with abstractions, if you see the micro-tremor of malice, or if you feel the vacuum draining your energy, you have found a systemic parasite. Do not argue. Simply withdraw your consent. Stop seeking validation from a hollow statue. But ultimate mastery goes beyond the external world. Archons do not just operate in physical bodies. They broadcast frequencies directly into your own mind, feeding on self-doubt and intrusive thoughts of worthlessness. The next time a chaotic thought loops in your head, stop. Treat that thought as an entity. Ask that voice, "What do you love?" Watch how quickly the anxiety shatters. A thought rooted in their control cannot answer that question. It will dissolve into silence because it has no life force of its own. By demanding the frequency of love from your internal shadows, you instantly purge the parasitic programming from your consciousness. When you begin to wield this frequency, the simulation will react. Do not be surprised as sudden shifts occur in your reality. Relationships built on energetic extraction will abruptly dissolve. Environments that demanded the surrender of your soul will collapse. You might find yourself standing in sudden isolation. But hear this clearly. This is not a cosmic punishment. It is an eviction notice to the parasites. The false scaffolding of your life is falling away because your primal frequency has outgrown the cage. Do not turn back. The empty space around you is not a void. It is the birthplace of your absolute sovereignty. If the frequency of this transmission resonated with you today, you are not here by accident. Step fully into the inner sanctum of our waking lineage. If you feel called to do so, leave the words, "I see clearly," in the comments below. Let it stand as a quiet, physical declaration of your autonomy. Subscribe to this channel to join a community dedicated to truth as we explore the suppressed wisdom of the ancients and the tools needed to navigate this matrix. If this message brought you clarity, consider liking the video so it naturally finds other scattered sparks ready to remember who they are. The architects of this realm tried to burn this Gnostic wisdom, but it survived. It lives in your DNA. Now, as we close this sacred space, take a final deliberate breath. Inhale the quiet power of your own essence. Exhale the artificial noise of the world. Now, repeat these words in the silent temple of your own mind. I am the observer. I am the spark. My frequency cannot be replicated. Carry this inner flame into the dark. Ask the question. Trust the silence. And watch the illusion burn.